optimization specialist. So basically, being an engineer, I can understand the optimization of engines and optimization of machines, but she's going to tell us how we are going to optimize our own performance. Pragnya is an avid learner, passionate knowledge sharer, and IT professional turned speaker cum coach. She is a friendly girl next door. Let's see how friendly she is. And a Toastmaster and a mother. Mothers are always friendly, I can understand that, who believes in the possibilities of a better world. She is on a mission to help improve the world by helping people get better at what they do. Normally, we don't understand that what we can do. So I think she'll be giving us some tips to enhance our own performance. And uh, she is the founder of the Perform at Best. I think that is her company's name, a coaching and consulting firm focused on high performance optimization. Her mantra for all: peak performance is about doing your best at every step of the way, no matter where and when you start. If you are not improving, you are not living. That is also my mantra also. If you are stagnant, then you are stinking. She believes that everyone is a special and unique person and are really not seeing that their own awesomeness. She has been constantly driven by the question, how can this be better? Wow, what a person she is. I welcome Pragnya Venigalla. Welcome on our platform 100 Days, 100 Speaker. The stage is all yours. I would like to know how you're going to give us the tips to increase our performance. Please.
Thank you so much, Rajiv ji, for that beautiful introduction. I'm overwhelmed with all the wonderful things that you said. And indeed, I do believe a lot of things that, that we don't know our own potentials. And that is why we come to places like this so somebody else can tell us what we are good at. So thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm thrilled to be here and I'm super excited to share my 2 cents with all of you. So we can get started right away. Let me just start sharing my screen. Right. My screen visible? Yes? Okay. Thank you so much. Good. So first of all, before I start my presentation today, I want to thank all of you for coming here. And I also want to acknowledge something about all of you, that you want to get better. And that is why you have taken time out on a Thursday evening and you are here sitting in a group with 20 other people, just trying to absorb knowledge and try to see what you can implement in your lives. And you try genuinely with your heart and soul to change things around you, to make an impact in the world. And that is what is amazing about each and every one of you on this call here. And definitely all of you are awesome. If you don't know that already, then this is a reminder for you. And if you know that already, well, it is still a reminder for you that your awesomeness is not limited to how awesome you can actually be. Okay, so I just wanted to start off on this positive note because I genuinely feel people who take their time out to attend sessions like these are the people who make a lot of difference in their lives and in the lives of the peoples they cross. But one thing that happens to all of us, why are we all here in this session today? We're all here because something is missing. Something we want to, we are doing everything we want, but something is stopping us from taking some action. Something is getting in our way of getting our dream life. Something is, pinching us in the back of our head, or, something just is not right. And all through our lives, most of us, I believe, are just in search of solving this something. So today, I want to take my time to, understand or help you understand how we can deal with this something in our lives and how we can grow ourselves, grow our careers, grow our organizations to become better. So in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, what we will be talking about is how we can build a purpose-driven life, how we can get, and how to increase our impact and efficiency. Before I continue, I just want to check all of you are able to hear me, see me clearly, and you're on board with this, and you like what we are going to discuss. Can you just type it in the chat box, say, yes, this is awesome, I need my something. Right, let's keep it interactive. Let's keep ourselves engaged. Yeah, so can you just let me know in the chat box if you're here? Yes, you're ready to go? Awesome. Thank you so much for your responses. All right. So I just want to ask you, how many times or how many of you have said, I am busy? Have you ever said this? I am busy. I'm too busy to do things that I want to do. I'm too busy to take a vacation. I'm too busy to work on that dream project. I'm too busy to, pursue a hobby that I wanted to. I'm too busy to watch TV. Possible, right? We are all running from thing to thing, from one after the other every single day. And we just don't find time for the things that actually matter or for the things that we really want to do deep down. And we cover it up with the sentence, I am busy. Then, have you ever said this? I don't have time. Have you ever said, I don't have time to take up this project? Have you ever said, I don't have time to do something? I want to do it, but I don't have time for this. Have you ever made this statement in your lives? Or have you ever said, I don't know what to do? Have you ever felt stuck? Or have you felt you're not sure what you're doing? You're turning up to work every day and you're like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing each day. Or you're just like, okay, I go to work, I finish what I'm told, and you're back. Or you are an entrepreneur and then you still not sure of what to do when you get stuck somewhere, or you're just lost somewhere. Does this happen to us? It happens to me a lot. I'm exhausted. Well, this is my favorite one. We are so consciously, we are trying to do so many things. We are constantly moving things. We're juggling all our family and work and everything. And we're just so tired that we can't really even sleep properly. Some of us don't even sleep 8 hours a day. The minimum required, even our bodies ask us for, we don't give it that. We don't give ourselves the rest or the break that we need. So I'm exhausted. Or do you say, I'm okay? No matter what happens, I'm okay with my life. I'm happy where I am, and this is fine. And this is a typical excuse we can tell ourselves, saying we are just normal and this is okay. Well, let me tell you something. It is not okay to not be living a life that you actually should be. It's not okay to be sharing your talents and your gifts with the world. And it is not okay to be settling in for something that is not your calling. So if any of these sentences are things that you resonate with, well, then today's session is going to be very interesting for you. So we generally have to remind ourselves that we have a lot of potential. We have not even touched the surface of what we are capable of doing. And what we truly deserve, we will get and we need to get. And when we keep reminding ourselves of this, we are, more energy prone, more driven to actually take action towards things that we actually want to achieve, or just grow in that job, get that next promotion, start your business, get that side hustle moving, whatever it is that you want to do to grow in your career, to grow in your path to, enlightenment and just achieving your dreams. Well, just need to remember these few things. Now, who am I and why am I sharing all this with you? So let me just, if it's okay with you, I'll just share a little bit of why I started all this here. So I am, I'd like to say, born with a silver spoon. I'm not like, I was born into a middle-class family, a typical Indian family, where, well, you grow up, you either become an engineer or a doctor. Well, I chose to be an engineer because, well, that's what my dad was. He was a gold medalist of his college. And it was needless to say, me and my sister were getting into engineering as well. So, but we were not gold medalists at our college, but I was not a bad student. I was pretty good at what I was doing. And I was, whatever I did with all my heart and soul. So yeah, a typical Indian journey, right? So we do engineering, we go take a job in a software company. Well, that's what we do. No matter what we study, we go end up in a software company. So that's where I ended up too. And over almost 10 years of my work experience, I have grown from company to company. I have worked with sectors of telecom and healthcare. And whatever I did with a lot of my heart and soul. And then 2.5 years ago, I was blessed with a baby boy, and my whole world turned upside down. Well, not because my job was not interesting anymore or things, it's just that a lot more things got added onto my plate and I had to juggle everything. And then I really started questioning, what am I doing with my life? Because it became so difficult to leave that baby, a 45-day-old baby. I would leave in the daycare and I would go back to work, and my heart would cry every day because I could not get myself to do that. And when I reached work, all I could think of was, what would my baby doing? It's so small, it doesn't even know what it needs or how to tell what it needs, and I'm not there for it. And I brought the baby into the world, and it made me so guilty that I started beating myself about it, going into a downward spiral, and just not understanding what to do. But then eventually I took the very hard decision to quit my job because, like, a zillion reasons. And then I, of course, decided to spend some time with my baby and my family and recover my health and all of that. But I'm a Toastmaster. And in Toastmasters, in every meeting when you are speaking, somebody introduces you. And generally, for the introduction, they ask you, what do you do? That's a typical question when anybody asks you. I didn't have an answer at that time. So all my life, I have been, if somebody asked me, what do? I would tell them what I did as a job. I was a PMO analyst. I was a corporate relationship manager. I was a software engineer. I was a senior developer. It was always my job title. But when I did not have a job, well, what did I do? Well, if my job title had to be defined at that point, it would have been a housewife. But that's not who I am. Or I did not resonate with it deep down, and it ate me up. And every time somebody asked me, what do you do? I would cringe in my stomach and feel like, crying and running away from everything. But I started to realize what we do isn't about the job we do, isn't about, what we are actually contributing in a workplace. What we do can make a lot of difference in our mindset if we look at it differently. And I set off on a journey to just figure out what is it that I really want to do. And I figured out that I love automations. I love working with softwares. I love using technology to help things, to streamline things. And I understood that we don't do justice to the technology that is there. We don't do justice to processes and systems in our own lives. And that is where I started researching more, reading more, implementing a lot of things, and started coaching people on high performance and productivity. And that is what brought me here today to speak to all of you. So in my entire journey, what I have actually observed of, or just seen from a lot of research, let me just show you a few statistics that really shock me and make me feel like something is wrong with the world. The first off that I've read is 85% of employees are not engaged or are actively disengaged at work. Does that even sound right? 85% of employees. That's like everything. And yet, most of us spend 8 hours or more every day at work. Whether we are employees of somebody else, whether we are entrepreneurs, whether we are housewives, but we spend more than 1/3 of our lives doing this. And we're not happy doing it. We're not engaged doing it. We're just doing it for the heck of it, just because we're getting some money at the end of it. This statistic shocks me a lot. Why are people so unhappy in jobs? Then why don't they leave? I used to keep thinking, if you're not doing well at your job, well, something is challenging you. But why are people not talking about it? And another statistic I saw is workers' daily stress levels increased to 43%. That is a lot. 43% stress. Imagine what that does to a person. Their health goes down, their mental health, physical health, the relationships start draining. And all of this for work that you are not even enjoying or are engaged in. And 9 out of 10 people are willing to earn less money to do more meaningful work. Now, this is what struck me very deeply. People don't see the purpose behind what they are doing. They don't find meaning in what they are doing. And that is why we have statistics like the first two. But if we actually, it's not about money, right? People think, oh, I'm working in a job because I need my salary. Well, sometimes I acknowledge the fact that, life can be hard. And for some people, it's a necessity. And, bare minimum, yes, I agree. But beyond one point of getting salary, it's never about the money. So as you grow through the ladder, as you grow in your companies, you will notice that they may give you a 60% hike and say, okay, go take on this work, but you will not feel like doing it at that point. So at that point, you will realize it's not about the money anymore, but it's about what you're actually doing at work. Right? So what are we actually looking for at that in those phases for growth? We are looking, if we have these things, our jobs, our companies, anything that we are trying to achieve, our dreams, all of that will actually make a lot of sense to us and give us that sense of being alive. And this is all we actually want to have if you look at it, if you drill down. Now, let me stop talking and let me give you an opportunity to share your thoughts on this. Now, I want to know from you all, what is it that you do? What are you? Okay, what is it that you do? If you can just type that down in the chat box, what do you do? And along with that, define your work or your activities or your tasks, whatever it is that you do, in 3 words. I know we love writing essays and we have authors in the crowd. I don't want an entire paragraph, just 3 words. If you can sum up everything you do in 3 words, what would those 3 words be? Okay, so just what do you do, and define your activities or work in 3 words. Can I see some interaction in the group so we can make this interactive and engaging? Okay, so somebody, Savila said business, she manages. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, we had CD who said he's an entrepreneur. His 3 words are meeting, deciding, collecting payment. Okay. Yes, others, we have 26 people on the call, so I'm sure all of you do something, right? Yes, Ajita, dreams, speak, and support. Okay, very good. I like the word dream. I am a dreamer too, so I love to dream. Yes, everybody. Let us know, what do you do, and define your activity in 3 words. What are the first 3 words that come to your mind when you think about what is it that you do? So this will also help me get an idea of what is the kind of crowd we have. Yes, Taga said join, salary, life. Okay, awesome. Excuse me. Okay, what about the others? Are you still thinking about 3 words, or you're finding this very difficult? Yeah, Shanmugam said removing blocks for magic. Okay, Alexander said debt collection. Bhatia says working to share and empower others. Very good. Learning to share and empower others. Very good. Cool. So can we have the others bring up their answers too? Excuse me. Now, I just want to pause right here. Okay, so we have some more answers here. Business, sales, web development, designing, change of life routine. Yes, okay. If what you do cannot be defined by the following words: I transform, I lead, I change lives, I live purposefully, I am impactful, I live happily, I live, if these kind of words or synonyms or tangents of these words are not in your work, then you need to redefine what you do. Because we are looking at work as a task item that we need to just check off. However, if we are spending 1/3 of our lives doing this work, then it needs to be more valuable than that. If you have heard of Mel Robbins, a famous author, she actually quoted in one of her TEDx speeches that you as a person being born, the probability of that is about 1 in 400 trillion. That is the probability that you as a soul or as a human being came into existence. 1 in 400 trillion. Now, that is a huge probability. And you have been given this life because you have an opportunity to make a difference in yours and in the lives of the others. So why are we not then making full use of this life? And why are we not defining what we do in terms of, in words that lighten up, liven us up, which wakes up every day? We jump off out of bed feeling like this is the life I want. And if your work is not adding to that, then it's time for us to relook at that. Does that make sense? So how do we actually do this? So how do we build this life that we really want to energize and do everything? Well, for starters, be your own master. Now, what does this mean? This does not mean everybody who is an employee quit your job, go start something on your own. Well, statistics show that majority of companies, more than like 80-90% of companies actually shut down in the first 5 years. So it's not that people will only be successful if they start their own companies. That's a misnomer that we are fed as a society. But being your own master is about deciding what you do at your work every day. You decide your goals, you decide what is it that you want to work on, what kind of jobs you want to work on, where do you want to add more value. Once you can do that, you will be a lot closer to living that purposeful life that makes you jump out of bed every morning. And of course, be purposeful. Whatever you're doing, don't just do it for the heck of doing it. Like, okay, this, I have to do this bare minimum, let me do it, I'll get my salary. Now, when we come from that mind space, it reflects on the quality of work we do. It reflects on how others perceive us as well. But if we are purposeful about, okay, this is going to add value, this is going to make a change, this is going to make a difference, and if I don't do this, it's going to hamper things around me, that gives you a lot of positive energy, and that's where you can actually work in a very stronger position from. And find your joy. It's in the little things that matter. It's not that you have to do something every day or change the world every day, but little things each day can make a huge difference if you actually look at simple things that you can actually enjoy doing every day. Now, I was a PMO analyst and I used to work on Excel sheets all day. So if you ask me at that point, what did you do? I would say I used to work on Excel. Well, in reality, I love Excel. So when I started looking at it as, oh, I use Excel to track projects and give people statuses, then it made added more purpose to my Excel sheet. It was a humble Excel sheet, but other people needed it so that they could do better. So that made me want to work on my Excel sheet. So just rewording what things we do every day, or what, a lot of words that we have seen today, people have shared in the chat, don't necessarily they don't sound very empowering, right? They sound like tasks that we have to do. Well, I saw an example of, dream. Now, why dream was a good word? Because it is empowering. It is actually letting you take control of it. Correct. Now, you may be wondering, what is she talking about? We're talking about career development and, organizational growth. And why is she talking philosophical things? Now, if you thought that, let me just give you a small example. There is a story which I read in a book by Dr. Sri Kumar Rao. In the medieval ages, there was a famine which hit a village. So all the people in the village had to migrate to cities to find work and to survive. Okay. So out of the people who did, there were 3 young boys, John, Peter, and Paul. They migrated to the city looking for work just to survive. And they came across a man who was an artist, a very well-known artist in his area. And he had a home come office studio where he used to work from. So these 3 boys actually got a job with him. And because that man, the artist, was also actually from the same village. He left the village long back, and that's why they had an edge and they got that job somehow. Now, the artist was very demanding in terms of what he expected from these boys, and he would send them long hours. He would collect stones from all his travels, or from other people who have traveled the world. He would buy stones from them. He would give it to these boys and say, crush the stones and make fine powder out of it, and then soak it into some foul smelling liquid, and then dry it, and do all the process, and then he used to condense it to become some thick mass. And likewise, he would give them samples of plants and say, go find more quantity of the plant from the mountains, and then boil the plants down. And there was a big process, and they had to actually come back. So what the artist was doing was, he was actually trying to create paint, okay, from different kinds of stones and plants and leaves and things like that. And he would use that in his work, and that is what made him unique. Now, John hated the job. He was like, oh my God, this is so boring and it is so difficult to do. But he didn't have another option. So, well, he did it. Peter also did not like the job particularly. He was like, yeah, it's difficult to do, but he was like, it was better than, working in some iron mine or something. It's not that hard, so it's okay. So he kind of pacified himself, and he would do what he was asked to do. Now, Paul was very intrigued by everything that was happening. He started understanding that, different leaves have different colored hues. And he started asking questions on why he wanted a particular shade of red or blue, and he started experimenting by himself. And, he actually ended up helping the artist find new colors and new kind of shades and new patterns of how he could bring about colors. Now, when the artist decided to move countries and he was going away, what do you think happened? Well, he fired the first guy. The second guy was given a little stipend where he barely made a living out of it. And the third guy was taken along with him. So, and the third guy, Paul, he actually learned how the artist works, and he asked questions, and he was so intrigued by it. He actually eventually took over the practice of painting, and he started his own painting classes, and he did his own paintings and sold, and he did really well in life. Now, what does the story tell us? Now, we think being purposeful or being driven or all of that happens when you are living a life of your purpose, you're changing world and things like that. But if you can actually find meaning in what you do every day, if you can be empowered by the little things that you are doing, that can make a tremendous difference in how you are perceived as well. Right? So, but there's a lot of, it's very easy, it's easy to say and do. You're like, yeah, sure, Pragnya, this works in other companies, it will not work with me. But most of these things that we tell ourselves are actually things that limit ourselves. Now, nobody stopped you from asking questions. Nobody is stopping you from doing above the bare minimum. Nobody is stopping you from pushing yourself in the job that you're doing. But you're like, yeah, they overworked me already. Well, then it's time for us to start looking at why are we overworked and why are we not doing work that is actually more meaningful, which is more impactful. Now, no manager or no company wants you to work 24 hours a day and deliver one piece of an item. If it's a product operations, right? You don't want to deliver one if you work 24, but if you can work 8 hours and actually deliver one, well, that is an added bonus for the company. So we need to start looking at these opportunities of how we can actually go beyond Call of Duty. And we don't think about it because we limit ourselves. We are like, okay, I'm just in this job. What can I do? I don't like this job. And we keep blaming our boss or the coworker or the nature of the job itself or something or the other about things that are not right. And we lack clarity. Most of us, sometimes we don't even know what we want. Right? We want that promotion, but why do you actually want that promotion? What is that going to do for you? Right? If you want to start a company, well, what are you trying to achieve with that company? Well, that's why a lot of entrepreneurs fail, because they start things without having a lot of clarity in what they are actually doing. And of course, people lack know-how. They don't know how to do better. And this is another challenge that a lot of us face, where the kind of stops us from what we are doing. And when we actually answer the question, what do you do? Well, that is why our answers are not the life-changing, out of the bed kind of empowering words. So I want to share with you a few tools that you can use to actually change this about our work culture. So the first one I like to call the butterfly effect. Second, the feed the child, and third, the North Star. Okay, so let's get into each of these in detail. Now, the butterfly effect. Have you heard of what the butterfly effect is? Anybody? So it essentially means that when you do something, okay, the impact or the repercussions are really large somewhere else. We may not see it immediately, we may not feel it right away, but it happens. So when we do, something changes, some balance changes in one part of the world, it actually affects something else. So that is the butterfly effect. And how can we leverage this in our daily work? Simple. Stop defining yourself with your job title. Okay, so when somebody says, what do you do? Don't say, I am a project manager, or I am an accountant, or I am a lawyer, I am a clerk, I'm a businessman. Now, that is just telling you what the title is, but it's not telling you what you do. And mostly also, suppose if you're in an IT company, for example, and if you are a software engineer, you are not the architect, right? So you will kind of limit yourself to asking questions that an architect could ask. You wouldn't go out of your box and think beyond what your little piece of code is supposed to be doing. And because there's a lot of hierarchy, and we think we don't, it's not our right to ask, and it's really crazy. Why should I do it? It's not my job. It's like, it's not my work. Now, especially with customer support, this happens a lot. Now, customer support, what does a person on the end of the phone call do? They take your query and they say, okay, this is fine. I'm going to route it to another customer. I'm going to route it to another department. But if that person actually went out of the way to actually make that the client feel good, or go an extra way to actually make a phone call to the other department to find out what was going wrong, wouldn't that customer service representative be doing a much better job than what he would otherwise be doing? If he was just limited by, okay, this is my job and I have to do only this, well, he wouldn't be doing a justice to his own skills, and he would not be growing in his own company. And growth does not necessarily mean a promotion in your job. Growth does not necessarily mean change in your title, right? Growth can come from a lot of learning. It can come from a lot of insight. The more you know, the more you can actually help do better, help other people do better. You can streamline things around you. Okay. Excuse me. And of course, next thing is understand people. Now, suppose you are in office and you have a coworker who you have given, you have delegated some task to, right? Does that happen to all of you? We delegate often, right? Even if not often, well, sometimes we do, and we give somebody a task and that person does not do it. What is our immediate reaction to it? We go, okay, that person is lazy, or he's incapable, or oh my God, it's easier if I do it. And I am that kind of person. If I delegated something to somebody and if it was not done, I get very antsy. I get so, I'm like, okay, you know what, I can just do it and it'll be done faster. So if that is my mentality, what I would usually end up doing is, well, not delegate at all in the first place, but I would keep doing everything I was doing, keep overloading myself, and I would not really be focusing on things that are important. If there are tasks that, not necessarily, they don't necessarily leverage my skills, those are the ones I need to delegate to other people because they are better at it than I am. So we need to understand what we are delegating. And suppose we did delegate to somebody and he did not do it. Instead of reacting to, oh my God, why didn't he do it? He's lazy. Or instead of, labeling that person or just taking it all on ourselves, what we can do is actually understand, why did that person not deliver on the task that was given to you? How many of us actually go out of our way to think about the other person? Very few people. And the other person may not know how to do it, or he was actually having some challenge in personal life and it was carrying forward to his work. Well, if you had that conversation with that person and he was actually just struggling for some work, and if you helped him out a little bit, wouldn't he help you out better? Wouldn't he be happy? Your relationship with that person would be happy, and the next time you did something, he would not miss the deadline. He will not let you down. So for us, actually looking at the other person's point and just having some empathy, having some concern for why is that other person not doing what they're supposed to be doing, that can change our perspective of how we are doing. And if I just help that person in a, like maybe that person was really in a hurry and he wanted to, catch or the last bus, so then otherwise he would be in a lot of trouble. If I just help that person, say, what, I'll drop you home, can you just finish this work? He would do it for you. And that is the butterfly effect. You may help him somewhere else. You need not help him in the work that he is doing. You need not take on the work yourself or train him to do it or anything like that. But if you help him somewhere else and just take off one strand of trouble that he has, that will actually have a lot of repercussions in his work. And he would, leave that day happier, and it will in turn make you happier as well. So just having that mindset of understanding people could change a lot for us, and not just our work, but also in general, our relationships and our quality of life. And finally, the words we use. Our actions, our thoughts, our habits, everything starts with us. It starts with what we tell ourselves. It's what we, say out of our words. And that is why when we answer, what do you do? The answer to that question can have a lot of effect on other things of how people perceive you, how they consider you. Now, if you are true to yourself and you answered honestly, they will actually, come back much stronger, and, they'll come back with a lot of positive recommendations for you as well. Now, let's just look a little bit more about words we use, right? So the first thing is our inner reasoning. So this is our self-talk, our own, internal voice, whatever it is that you call. We all have it, right? Have you heard that gnawing voice in your head that keeps telling you, do this, don't do this, or there is a battle in your head, this constant debate going on about any decision you want to take? What is actually happening? What are we telling ourselves? Right? Most of the time, we are just complaining or comparing or just criticizing. And if that is what we are doing, well, that has an effect on everything else around our life. If we keep complaining and we are in that negative space and we're expecting that promotion, we're expecting things to change, we're expecting a better life, well, I'm sorry, it will not happen. Right? So where is our inner reasoning? What is it that we are doing? If we can change our own inner reasoning, change the words we tell ourselves, that can have a tremendous butterfly effect and impact everything else around us. And next, our relationship with work. Now, first of all, work is like this taboo, literally, right? Where people are like, okay, work. A society has programmed us to believe that work is something which is, well, the word itself is work. You need to put in some effort. You need to do something. Correct? So when we think of it like that, well, it is a burden for us to do it. But if we actually think of work as fun, if we think of, our work is a part of our life, if we think of it as something that you enjoy doing and you're actually feeling more fulfilled, or you feel like you're contributing things, and then that changes your energy levels when you actually work, and the results will also show immediately. And this is one thing I learned from one of my mentors. It's called audio logo. Now, when we start saying what you do, and if we actually try, if we can reword it into a format like this: I help dash, be, do, have, whatever, dash, even if dash. Now, what does this mean? This is typically used by marketers when they are actually trying to sell to you, where you actually tell people what is it that you help with, right? So what is your target? Is it, I help project managers perform better. I help, people light up their homes. So somebody in Deva actually said that they work in Deva here, the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority. And when they asked him, what do you do? And he actually answered, I help light up people's lives. Now, he was a happy employee and he loved what he was doing because he could find meaning in what he was doing. He was essentially a reporting manager, or he was doing some clerical jobs in Deva. But he thought, if I didn't do this, people will not get electricity. Well, so that is how big he thought. So who do you help with what you do? So your task is, well, I go and prepare reports, for example, or I'm just doing some clerical activities. Well, what is the bigger picture that you're trying to achieve? So by you doing that, whom are you helping? Okay. And what are you helping them with? What is the solution you're giving them? Okay. You're helping them perform better. You're helping them do some tasks. So you're helping them have the results they want. What is it that you're actually doing? Even if problem. So what is the challenge that people have, or what is the difficulty that they are facing? Right? So if we start rewording things of what do we do into statements like this, they become more empowering and they give us more energy to actually go about doing these activities. Okay. Now, the second thing I want to share with you is the feed the child. Now, I have a 2.5-year-old child, and every day I observe what he does, and he is such a curious cat. He wants to see, okay, if I put my hand into this hole, what happens? If I drop this, what happens? Will I get a reaction? They are constantly observing things around us, and they're just curious. Any kid, for that example, right? If you have seen babies, if you have seen toddlers, you'll see how curious they are, the questions they ask. But as we grow older, we somehow are trained to not ask those questions, to not be curious anymore. But why? If you're not curious about how is this working, or, like, for example, if when I was in the PMO reporting, I would get a lot of defects. I used to track defects for the entire project. So then I would be like, okay, so these are defects. I would prepare a report and send it. Well, that was my job. But when I actually started asking, well, where are these defects coming from? What are these defects actually? Where are they being caused? And are there repetitive patterns in the defects? What does this mean? Like, if I try to understand what a defect actually meant, or how it impacted things, well, I started getting more interested in the job. And naturally, I came up with better ideas on how I can report better so that people can actually identify where the bugs were, a lot easier. So just by being a little bit curious and asking a few questions around, not being limited by your own job title or by your own mindset, just go and ask people, ask them, I want to learn. Nobody's going to say no when you tell them you want to learn something, right? and ask shifting questions. Now, you can say, oh, why should I do it? Why me? You can have that kind of a mentality, or you can say, oh, this is so boring. Why should I prepare this report? So when you're constantly stuck in that mindset, you'll not be able to see a different picture whatsoever. But if you ask questions of, why is this report important to my boss? What is he going to get when I give him this report? What is he looking for in this report? What statistics does he actually want? Is he trying to uh, show the management that our number of defects have come down? So when I started asking questions like this, it made a lot of difference in the reports that actually happened. So my work was just to prepare reports, right? But what reports I prepared, nobody had to tell me, okay, do this. Once I started asking questions on what is it that they were looking for, the presentation quality just went up, and it gave me more meaning to actually turn up at work every day. And of course, set aside your time. Now, top companies in the world, if you know Google, if you know 3M, of course, you know Google and 3M, it's not if, right? So when you're actually with these people, if you must have heard of these stories, that they have set aside a time that where they can work on autonomous projects, whatever they want to do, right? Apart from their work. 3M company actually set aside a day a week saying, go do whatever you want, right? The world famous Post-its, the ones which everybody uses, has literally on every desk. This was created in an off time by the employee. This was not a task that somebody was supposed to do. They were just given a free rein. Okay, you know what, just do something that you want for a day and then come up with some idea. And they actually came up with it. Even in Google, Gmail came up like that in it is off the work kind of autonomous. When they just said, go do whatever you want to do at your work, just explore your curiosities. If you want to just, you have some idea and you just want to try building it, go explore that curiosity. That is when magic actually happens. That is when things actually start materializing for you and for the company and for your organization. And that is where growth will happen. So what you actually need to do is not change your job. That's not the solution, because if you're unhappy here, you will be unhappy in another job, right? It's about understanding how you can make an impact. So every day, if possible, you can spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes researching something that you're curious about. If you want to learn a little bit more, if you want to improve, like for example, I was in reporting, and if I wanted to just every day, I would just spend 20 minutes learning macros in Excel. It helped me automate a lot of things that I was doing manually until then. Reports that I took 2 hours to prepare used to take me 20 minutes to prepare. Now, would my boss object that I spent 20 minutes trying to learn macros when it's not part of my job description? Well, that really won't make any sense, right? And nobody's going to stop you if you tell them you're actually helping them get better. So this is us, we just tell, oh, I'm an employee, I'm a job, my manager is like this, my boss is like this, my teammates are like this, all that is excuses that we tell ourselves because we are not being honest to ourselves. If we actually ask ourselves, what am I curious about? How can this be better? How can I change this? What impact will this have on other people? Questions like these, just feed your curiosity every day. Set aside 20 minutes or 15 minutes and start with that. Start learning a little bit more about how you can improve something that you're doing. And in this world of technology, in this world of information overload that we are in, no matter what you want to do, it is already done, right? The universe is there for you to go. All you need to do is ask. All you need to do is reach out to people. There is a course, there is a book, there is a talk, there is something about the topic that you want to learn about. So what is stopping you from spending 20 minutes a day learning about a topic that you are curious about? Nobody is telling you to do this. But if you do it, you take that initiative yourself and start doing this, and then go and look at, okay, what am I doing? Then you will see the impact that you have on your company. Your manager will start noticing, your colleagues will start noticing. If you are an entrepreneur, your employees will start noticing. And that is not a small change that you can ignore. It all starts with 20 minutes of your time to work on your curiosities. Okay. And finally, your North Star. So this is basically your, why are you doing what you're doing? What is the mission you're trying to achieve? What is your vision? What is your purpose? Now, in your life, there needs to be some direction. If you are not aligned to that direction, that is where these limiting beliefs start. That is where these, okay, I'm doing things which are a waste of my time. Well, start trying to figure out how what you do in your work can be aligned to your bigger purpose. right? Now, if you like talking, if you like sharing things that you have learned, then why don't you take the initiative and have knowledge sharing sessions in your company, right? Start having, I don't know, chats over coffee or something. If you are a manager, encourage your teammates to do that. And it can change the culture of the company drastically. Yet, these are things we ignore the most. And whatever are these big visions that we have, we need to start drilling them down to daily actions, right? We may have a big goal, like, for example, somebody who is in a job and they want to become a speaker. When you want to become a speaker, how do you become a speaker? Well, start somewhere. Start by joining a Toastmaster club. Start by reaching out communities, or people who have these kind of sessions, and ask them, can I give a talk? Start by drafting speeches. Start by learning how you can give speeches better, and you can break that down to everyday actions, right? So today I will watch one TEDx talk, or I'll watch one motivational talk, and jot down my points on what I liked. It starts like that. So if you can actually have a big direction, whether it is aligned to your job, not aligned to your job, and if you can actually find a way to link that to what you do every day, well, that can be a miracle. And of course, systematize the entire thing. Anything you do more than once, if you do 2 or 3 times, it makes sense, or it actually helps us do it better if we have a set of processes around it, if we have a system around it, right? Now, the Brainciti runs this 5 a.m. club, right? So there is a process that they follow. They have, these affirmations, they have the goal setting, they have the meditation, that's a process, because they do it every day. Now, if they didn't have that, imagine if Brainciti had to run the 5 a.m. club without having a structure like that, then every day would be different. Every day would be, okay, today let's do this, let's do this. It will be haphazard, and the entire experience will be very vague, isn't it? So that is why you need to have a system, you need to have a process, you need to have like 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of steps that help you get direction towards your objective or your main goal. So in your job, what can you systematize? If you do some job, like for example, if you prepare, like for me, I used to prepare a lot of presentations. Well, it helped me. One day I spent an entire day just working on a presentation template. I didn't even prepare the presentation, I just worked on a template. And when I showed that to my boss, he liked it. So every next time when he asked me to prepare a report, well, I just changed the data points and the template gets updated, and it's a lot faster. So every time a manager was able to get more reports out of me, right? And he was happy about it. So why don't we try and, just spend a little time just trying to improve what we are doing? It's just about try to have a system around it. So all this sounds very fancy. All this sounds like, okay, great. And this girl has been talking for an hour and I still did not get, actionable takeaways from here. Then let me just try and quickly tell you a little bit about a system that I use, and I use with my clients as well. And it works wonders in basically trying to help you achieve what you want to do. I call this 3T system. Basically means own your time, own your task, and then get traction on working towards it. Okay, so what does traction actually mean? Traction is a set of 4 components. First, starting with attention, then your goals, then your mindsets, and your daily habits. So when you master these few things, you will be on track to go ahead and do everything that I've just told you to do. If you want to start rewording, what do you do? Well, you start from here. You start from your daily actions. You start from what you're doing every day, right? So basically, when you do all of this, what do you actually end up getting? You end up getting inherent drive. You end up getting uninterrupted motivation for you to actually do what you're doing and excel at it as well. And you will get tremendous consistency in taking action. Sometimes how important consistency is. When you do something one day, you do something second day, third day, fourth day, you forget it for a few days, then do it another day. Well, that's not going to help you get better. So it's consistent action you will be able to do if you actually implement some of the ideas that I have shared here. And of course, you will fall in love with the process. It's not about did you get promoted. It's not about did you start that next company of yours. It's not about did I get a better job. It will become about who you are becoming as a person. And that will have a tremendous impact on the quality of your life, on the state of your mental health or your physical health and everything. Okay, so I just want to finally end with this quote. Without continuous improvement, words such as improvement, achievement, success, they actually don't have meaning. And this was not said by me, this was said by Benjamin Franklin. Okay, so so I just hope you can keep this in mind and keep working on yourself, keep trying to have this kind of a setup where you will be able to systematize everything that you have. Now, as a thank you for listening to me for so long, I just want to share with you a template of mine, which I have prepared, which is my 3T system in action, where you will be able to take your goals and break it down to daily actions and start working on it. But you will be able to try to find a tool, a system which is already designed for you to be able to implement this. Okay, so I've put the link in the chat box. You can go there and get this system for free as a thank you from me for listening.